right, we are live again at Doomsday's Krypt. Not sure if Jason Brooks is running late or something came up. Hopefully he'll show up. If not, we'll hang out, talk a little films, talk some indie, talk some conventions. This Monday, um, I will have Midwest Monster Fest. We got a live stream with the promoter, and his name is Jeff O'Neill, and I'm looking forward to it. I'll be attending as a vendor. Gonna have a big area there, 20-foot area. Bring that Doomsday's Krypt heat, and also my good friend Brett Wagner will be there. So it's gonna be a kick-ass show. They already have some great guests going. Maybe we'll go over some of the guests that they're bringing in, and we'll have Jeff O'Neill on Monday at the same time. What is going on, Tony? Good to see you. It looks like we might be doing a solo stream. Yes, the dope ass clown. You guys know I'm a huge fan of the Camp Blood cult. The old vessel behind me. I'm telling you, our vessel. Badass cutout my dude Michael Toast made for me because I'm such a big fan. Yeah, it's a sweet cutout. Sorry, guys. Yeah, but I guess we'll kind of do a free for all, see what's up, and let me message Jason real quick. I'm just giving him a quick message. See if I'm guessing maybe he forgot. No big deal. I know he did a watch along last night, but you know that's all right. We'll do a solo stream, and yeah, yeah. So what's going on now? It's dark. How you doing? Good to see you, man. You've been really rolling out the live streams and doing some great stuff there. Jim from Now It's Dark has a fantastic show. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, he's finally doing some live streams. Maybe I can schedule you to come out here, come on, and join me in a live stream at some point. Actually, tonight, if Jason Brooks can't make it for whatever reason, if somebody out there is watching, wants to come on and talk about a project, we'll leave it open for it. We got 20 viewers in the house. And I guess we'll talk a little Friday 13th Vengeance. Oh, you start vacation tomorrow, man. I wish I could get on vacation. These bags ain't for nothing. Yeah, but I just watched Friday 13th Vengeance 2 again tonight. Watched it twice. It's one of my favorite movies of the year. I'll put it up there with Terrifier 2 as my top two favorite movies this year, horror movies. I was hopefully he'll show up late. If not, it's okay. But I really loved the movie. It stars. Let's go through the whole cast. I know my friend Amy Cody, who you've seen on the show. It's been a little while. She played a newscaster. I had a small cameo. Give her a shout out. We got Todd Matthews in the credits on that. Now, if you haven't watched it, this follows the Jarvis storyline and his daughters. Tom Matthews, super cool dude. I've met him quite a few times at a bunch of conventions. CJ Graham, another guy I've met a few times. Met him at Scarefest and met him at Crypticon at my first show. And I'll be seeing him next month at Missouri Comic Con, along with Tam Glynn, who was in this movie as well. Her name was Lauren in the movie, and she had never heard of Jason Voorhees. She was from a town called Haddonfield. And if you don't know who Tamara Glynn, excuse me, she played the blonde in Halloween 5, the old sickle scene. So just a bunch of different people. Darcy DeMoss, who reprises her role as Nikki from Friday 13th Part 6. You got Kelly DePon, who plays Angelica Jarvis, one of the daughters. Jason Brooks, who plays Jason Voorhees, and also my favorite character in the film, Louis Carlisle. Sine Lutzis, who plays Ashley Jarvis. I just reviewed a movie recently, and I believe I want to call it Christmas Sleigh. I think that was the movie. I'm totally wrong on that, but I had the writer director of a film she was in. It was a vampire horror movie, Christmas horror movie. It was pretty cool. and she was fantastic in it. She's got a lot of talent. Let's see. Cody Huskins, who sent me a message. Good old big Cody. Maybe he'll jump in here. Oh, what was I going to say? What was I saying? Oh, we're going through the cast. Diana Prince playing Marilyn Evans. Paul T. Taylor as Majors. Tom McLaughlin's in the movie playing Walt. Rob Mello, who does a lot of different films, plays Arthur, kind of as Tom McLaughlin as Walt, the Crypt Keeper's sidekick. Richie Ramone's in it, legend. He plays Richie. Yeah, like I said, there's a bunch of different talents in this film. Amy Cody plays the KIMA news reporter in there. So Miss Cote, Peter Anthony, of course, is in there. Yes, Diana Prince. You got to meet her recently. This is the movie I said on your stream that I told you need to watch, Jim, is The Vengeance 1 and 2. You can find it on YouTube. It's direct sequels to Friday 13th Part 6, and the Jarvis storyline continues on. And if you're a Friday 13th fan and you haven't heard of this movie or seen it yet, it's bloody, it's brutal, it's 80s, it's funny, it's got its funny moments, it's got its brutal moments. To me, if you're a Friday 13th fan, you got C.J. Graham playing Elias Voorhees, Jason's father in the movie, and he's as fearsome as ever in that movie. Yeah, watch it, man. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts on The Vengeance 1 and 2. I think Jason Brooks has been super busy. I'll probably have to reschedule with him. I know he did a watch along last night. I know he's a busy man, so I'm guessing he's tired. And I'll reschedule to get him on if he can't make it tonight. But, you know, that's all right. We're going to talk a few things. I got conventions booked at Krypticon in Minnesota and also in Kansas City. They're coming back. I'll be at Midwest Monster Fest, and on Monday at 9:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, that's what I'm on, and 10:30 Eastern Standard Time, Midwest Monster Fest. I'll be having Jeff O'Neill coming on, and along with Brett Wagner, who's a guest at that event with others. And let's go over some of these events. Why not? Let's go over the guest list. I've been wanting to meet the Terrifier cast, Damien Leone and David Howard Thornton. They're all going to be there. A bunch of the cast from Terrifier 2 is going to be at a lot of these events, a lot of the Krypticon and a bunch of the Scarefest. Scarefest just announced that Talk Scary to Me, ladies. Yeah, I do. I work 24/7 at my job, and then doing the Doomsday Krypt stuff. I just wish there was more time in a day, but I have fun with it. The conventions are a blast. You know, they're a lot of work. I try to put on really cool tables, show off all the different talent in the community and all these creative guys. I just got this in. I'm going to be doing a review. I was showing some of my friends. I'm going to give you a little sneak peek. This is actual Freddy glove by James Roth. We got the Three-Eyed Demon getting made. A big bust by Josh Lucas. If you've seen some of the pictures, that piece is going to be sick. That's going to be an awesome table piece. And we're going to be doing a few more characters from the comic. As you can see up here, we got the comic cover. It kind of started off, we were going to do VHS boxes. We're like, yeah, we got to do some characters and write a little story to it. So we got a little Doomsday's Krypt. Background, some sort of story. The next one will be the Batra character, which my friend Beatrice Bupley, Amanda Kruger, I was telling her about it, and she even did the little voice for it. And we got Peter Anthony behind me. Get ripped off, his head ripped off. This is a cool picture. I showed it last night, but you know what? Let's show it again. From Roseblood, we did a little Krypt Blood. Big fan of Peter Anthony. He's killing it out there. He was part of the Vengeance 1 and 2 as a producer. You guys know he did Roseblood, which Jason Brooks is also Jason in Roseblood. So yeah. we got a lot of different stuff. I've kind of taken down a lot of it. There's the Part 6 Jason, signed by Tom Matthews and CJ Graham. I'm going to take that Hawk because I didn't have it at the time. That Part 6 Hawk by my friend Daniel Cruz at Church of Horrors Rehalls, and get that signed by CJ. We're going to do some art. Tamara Glynn's going to be at that place. So a little Vengeance reunion in Florida. So that'll be very cool. Just checking my messages. And yeah, some big things going on. 2023, we're going to rock it. We got a lot of, I want to be doing quite a few conventions and trying to keep the distance in between, trying to get into a few more events, see what I can do, put on some killer tables, some killer art from my talented pal Michael Toth. We'll bring some Scott Straka art too. Bring some of these mask makers you see. We're going to be going Doomsday's Krypt heavy with the story, so want to kind of expand on the Doomsday's Krypt. We're going to be doing more podcasts. We're going to be doing a lot of different stuff. Yeah. No, I'm hoping it's a big year, Jim. It's something I enjoy. I don't make a killing doing it. I spend a lot to do it, but I have fun with it. It's my outlet outside of work, and it's doing the horror thing. Putting on these tables, see the fans' reactions to it. Yeah, we were talking about Midwest. We're going to talk about a few things. Let's see. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Brett just messaged me. I got to look. Brett's giving me a heads up. Maybe there's another convention. Let me accept if I see it. Well, I will accept it when I get a chance. Let's see what's up. Give me a sec. Yeah. If Brett's watching, I just got your message, and we can definitely do that for sure. That would be a very cool one to check out. Oh, you got to meet Adam West, man, the legendary Adam West. William Shatner was at a show where Henry Winkler was at. We didn't get a chance to meet Bill Shatner, but we did get a chance to meet the Fonz. And that dude is about as cool as it gets. I met him a few years back. Guy's in his 70s. If you haven't seen him on Barry, the new show Barry, he's killing it on that series. Hopefully, the new season comes out soon. Henry Winkler, a true legend. And we don't have Jason Brooks, but I got my good friend, the Big Schwag, joining in here. Look at him. He's storming around. Oh. He's ready to pop in and help his buddy John out here. What is up, brother? The dog's making the cameo. He's a little camera shy. It's like, I don't want to be.
Come on up here, Lola. Man. So, yeah. Maybe Jason fell asleep.
Yeah, I know he did the watch party last night. I know he's got a lot going on, and someone is saying, my friend Jim from Now It's Dark, who's got a great channel. William Shatner was drunk, and we weren't allowed to take pics. That's pretty funny. Poor Bill, but I guess it happens to the best of us.
I can't tell you the last time I was drunk. I probably will. The next time I will be drunk will probably be with you in Midwest Monster Fest. So
yes, I'm excited for that. We were going to go over a couple of these events that are coming up since Jason wasn't able to make it tonight, or maybe running late. But I'm going to take it. He's probably forgot about that we had a live tonight, and that's okay. We still make something happen. Did you get a chance to watch Vengeance 2 yet, or not yet?
No, and that's why I was going to stay. I wasn't going to come on because I was embarrassed that I didn't get to watch it today. And then I was just gonna chime in from the bullpen, and then I saw that you need to come on. Now listen, there's I sent you a picture of a girl named Carla who's running, I think, the Wyoming Pop Fest. It's a convention in Wyoming, anime horror, and CJ Graham's going to be doing it in July.
Yeah, oh, definitely. I did see the message. I was actually
Yeah,
reading it,
so
I let everybody know my buddy the Big Schwag just messaged me.
she's got a cool convention coming up for the first time. So I said, hey, we need to get you on, talk about it. She's got Marty Kleba coming in, who's been in a ton of movies and all the Pirates of the Caribbean, and she's got C.J. Graham coming in, and my buddy Jeremy Ambler, and some other folks. So and this is going to be her first year. So I said we got to get you on and talk with you, because she's been trying
Always
to do
got
it
to
for.
support the new
Yeah,
cons, to
Wyoming.
see people. The
Wyoming,
more
let's
cons,
go.
the merrier. Hey, I'm down, man. You know me. As long
Yeah,
as it doesn't, I'm not booked somewhere else. I'm down to go.
yeah,
I'm ready for a road trip.
I'm
Go
ready
help out the new con.
for 2024. I told her I'm down to come up. I got a lot of friends in Wyoming. Wyoming's beautiful. We can maybe get a couple Harleys up there and go take a little ride while we're out there and have a good time. I don't know how far Wyoming is from you.
I
Probably
don't. I was going to say you probably looked it up already because you're
not
usually
yet.
good about it.
I am
You're
good at
usually
that.
good about it. You're usually like right on top of it for me, which I appreciate.
Wyoming to Kansas City, right? I mean, you're just outside of
I
Kansas. I
can
guess you
check it
are.
out now.
Yeah. So
Let's see. Wyoming.
bet you it's not that far. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I don't think if it's. See, I lived in the state for a while, but I really don't. I'm learning the closer states because I'm right like in the center of this country. So, Wyoming to uh, let's see what it says. I don't want to get a flight there. I just want to know the distance. Drive time. Let's see, 897 miles.
Ooh, okay. Well, that's a trek, but
Yeah, it's like a 12-hour drive, but if it's worth it, maybe well, I'm always if it's worth the drive, I always like to go. You know what the dates are for it?
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I believe it's in July anyway, so I won't be able to go. I know I'm booked, so let me just take a
Yeah,
look here.
yeah, I know
Yeah, it's
July. I
it's
have
uh it's
Krypticon.
July 7th and 8th and 9th, I believe, and I'll be in Albuquerque. Anyways, doing a first, well, not a first time convention for me in Albuquerque, which I'm excited about. But there's so many conventions, John, going on now. People are
I
taking
know.
chances and doing stuff, and it's so exciting that that's the possibility of stuff to be able to go to Albuquerque, which, by the way, New Mexico, that is the new place, one of the new places to film. Everybody's filming in New Mexico. And because you get you can get 4 different seasons out there, and if you want snow, you got snow, and that New Mexico became famous for filming because of um, gosh darn it, what's his name? The guy. Golly, they have their own tequila now too. Cabin in the Woods guy.
Oh, oh my God! No, you got me
A
forgetting.
teacher that becomes the meth dealer. Why am I forgetting the name of
Oh,
the?
oh God! Walter White. Oh, what? Bryan Cranston.
Yes.
Bryan Cranston. Yeah.
What's the show? I'm drawing a blank.
Oh, Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad. So Breaking Bad, a
I,
lot of
I was
production.
multitasking. What
Oh
what did you
my
say
God.
that was? Crypticon's the 7th through the 9th.
Yeah.
So
So
I
you'll be
think
at Crypticon, and that is the convention. That's when they're doing. That is when they are going to be doing uh, the show in Wyoming. So, but it's just a. And I asked her. I asked her if she would love to come on and talk about it. She's like, "Oh, it's a passion thing. I've been trying to do it for 3 years, and COVID and all that other stuff." I said, "That's great." I said, "That's good to talk about, that you're passionate and you want to do something." And then she's got some cool people come in. CJ's coming in. Marty Kleba's coming in. Jeremy Ambler, my buddy, the hardest working guy in showbiz, who's been in a lot of movies and done a lot of stuff and was in the Crazies with us. He's going to be there, and there's a whole bunch of other folks going. So Wyoming, I'm
Yeah,
telling you,
I'd still love to have her come on the show. I'm always down to
yeah,
help other promoters. Have
yeah,
give them a chance to shout it out. You never know. You get reach some people. It gets shared around. It helps the event and get some people to
that's
put on
right.
those buy those tickets. So yeah, we can definitely get her on.
Yeah, you had quite a few people. I was looking at. There's quite a few people in the thing tonight. I think they were excited to talk about
Yeah,
Vengeance
yeah, we're up to
Bloodlines.
300. Yeah, yeah, we got 318 in here right now. Let me look up some of the conventions here. Well, should we start with Midwest Monster Fest?
Yeah, sure. I'm trying to think who he's got.
I know he's still announcing a few people.
Oh yeah, I mean I know he's got. Obviously I'm going to be there. He's got. God, you're going to have to tell me.
Miko Hughes, Melissa
Oh, cool.
Rose,
Yeah, that's great.
and you. I think those are the ones they've announced now. So hopefully, I mean,
We'll
I'm
get him
looking forward
Monday.
to it. Felissa's wonderful. I've met. I didn't get a chance to really talk to Miko, but he was at Spookala, the first event at Spookala that I was at, and I got a piece of art original that I want him to sign that Michael Toth did that I didn't get a chance to have him sign. And then of course the big swag's there. And the
I love it.
Doomsday's Krypt's coming to bring
That's
that
right.
fire
Doomsday
table. You
Crypt
know
is going to
that.
be
We're
there.
gonna we're gonna make sure we do that.
You watch, folks. 2023 and 2024. Let's just say it right now is going to be the year of Doomsday's Crypt, the tour, the Doomsday Crypt tour that you're gonna set up for 2024 and beyond, man. We start this year. You got a lot of good conventions you're going to so far,
Yeah,
and
it should be a good year of conventions for sure. I
yeah,
mean, I can't imagine. I mean, all these shows are great. Crypticon always puts on a great show. Scarefest puts on a great show. This Midwest Monster getting to hang with you is perfect in between. It gives me like a week off where I got everything loaded. I can go and enjoy a week away and get ready for a Midwest Monster Fest and go to that killer show. Jeff seems great. I was talking to him online to get the table and stuff because I saw you were going. I'm like, man, this is just perfect.
yeah, it's
It just
perfect
works out
timing for
perfect.
you. Yeah,
Yeah,
we were supposed to do it last year. There was some issue. He had to cancel last year's show. He also does a halfway to Halloween show during the middle of the year. I don't think he's doing that this year. I think we're just doing because he lost doing his big show last year because of some medical reasons. So he had to pull it. He had to yank it down, which I know he did not like, obviously, and he was. But I think it's
that's
going to
got
be
to be
big.
tough.
It's going to be a big deal this year. I know the Quad Cities, as we were talking about a little bit about last night, has so much cool stuff to offer. I'm hoping that we get to see some of the guys from King's Kiss, which is a band which I used to. I mean, I know we'll see them. They're going to come say hello. But I don't know if we can get these guys to maybe do a little reunion of songs. I'm going to talk to maybe Jeff Monday night. I mean, and see if he'll let these guys play. King's Kiss, John.
Is it a Kiss cover band?
It is a Kiss cover band with Elvis singing.
That is definitely
And let me tell you
different, but
something.
it's got to be fun.
Let me tell you something. There, I introduced them on stage 9 or 10 years in a row. One of the coolest bands in the world. When Elvis is singing Kiss covers, it's just and the band is really good, and they dress up as as the Kiss and the makeup, full makeup and everything. And then there's semi chunky Elvis coming out singing. I mean, you're just like, it's a great
I can
band.
only imagine. I mean, because Kiss songs,
Yeah.
shout it out loud.
Yeah, so it's great. It's awesome. As I said, Steve's old time tap is there. There's a lot of you got both sides of the river. You got the Illinois side, then you got the Iowa side, and it's just the Quad Cities got some really cool stuff to do, and I'm excited.
I mean, I've driven through Illinois, but I've never actually spent time there. I've driven through it a few times. I'm not a fan of going through Chicago just because I missed an exit one time and I had to go over like 4 exits. I'm like, screw it. And I got the trailer and I made it somehow. Almost drove one person off the road, but other than that, it's pretty good for 4 lanes
Yeah,
in a short distance.
I'm not good, especially when I got a blood clot on my leg, which is after a while it becomes a pain in the butt when you're driving. But driving, 8 or 9 or 10 or 11 hours as you do sometimes to go to some of these events, where you're on the
20
road.
plus. I'm cutting that out
Yeah.
though.
So that is, we like each other right now. I don't 20 hours on the road, but with both of us in the same van, and God
That'd be
knows
a
what would
lot.
happen.
We need an RV. See, I could do it in an RV and chill out, man. And that's what I'd like to get to. Something where it's just at least make it make it fun. Because usually when I'm driving, it's like with a purpose. Going to Florida, I love going because my daughter's there, my parents are there, my older sister and my niece are there, and I was gonna do, Spookala again and possibly Phantasm, but just too much to go. It's a lot of work, and there's so many great conventions. I want to hit Texas this year. I'd like to do a Texas event. One of them, going to Indianapolis would be really nice for Horror Hound.
Yeah,
That would be perfect. That's a hop, skip, and a jump away for me. So
that's going to be great. Horror Hound obviously does the March show, which is completely sold out as far as vendors and whatnot, and then they do the Indianapolis show, I believe, in August. So that's going to be a big deal, and that'll be great to get you out there for that setup, and so the folks.
I got to meet Doug Bradley some point. That's when I saw Doug Bradley. I'm like, oh man, I wish I knew about this a little bit before, because I just saw it tonight, and I was looking at it, and I'm like, oh, the Schwag's going to that one, and Doug Bradley's there. I mean, I'm a big Pinhead fan, a big Hellraiser fan, big Doug Bradley fan. So
Hellraiser 1 and 2 are my two favorites. It's almost part 2. Might even be. I just love the Doctor is in. I love that whole part 2 is great. Then it kind of slacks off with the series and kind of even though I did watch the new one with the Pinhead girl.
It was okay. It just wasn't. It
was
Doug
a PG
Bradley
horror movie to me. That's what it was.
It was.
It's like
you just can't replace Doug Bradley. It's like trying to replace Freddy Krueger. But a lot of people did like the new Hellraiser movie. I didn't hate it. I didn't go, oh man, this is terrible. But you just can't beat what Hellraiser did back in '87 when it came out. I believe it was '87, and then Hellraiser 2. It was just brutal. It was just so much cool to that movie.
There was again, as we talked about, it was thinking outside of the box, and we started seeing stuff that people. I was like, wow, this is just totally different, and I love the, Clive Barker, for God's sakes, is just a
genius.
Genius, yeah.
I love Nightbreed too.
My wife has gotten his autograph a few times, and I've always wanted to get one of the boxes signed by him, of course, and have not had the pleasure yet of doing that. But he doesn't go out. He doesn't. Well, he never did a lot of stuff in a lot of conventions. When I was,
I had a Doug Bradley and I'm like drawing a brain fart here. Clive Barker autograph, and I sold it at a convention. So it is what it is. I shouldn't have, but I like to get my autographs in person. If I got a good deal on it, but going to conventions now, I'd rather get it from the person than buy an autograph. That's just me. It's just I enjoy meeting the people and getting it.
You'd like to have that experience, right? I mean,
yeah.
My wife went out last night just to get a few, chase some autographs, but she went out because Demi Moore was doing this Q&A, and she got to meet,
successful.
Yeah, she got to meet Demi Moore and get a picture with her. Didn't get an autograph, but got the selfie with her, and Demi Moore looks amazing, unbelievable. Still looks. I mean, that woman is in good shape and looks good. And then today, she got James Cameron sign an autograph and do a little thing for Robert Patrick. She says, we're good friends with Robert Patrick. He's, let's do the picture then. And he did the finger like Robert Patrick did in the movie. So, yeah. So that's pretty cool.
Oh, actually, it's more like that. But.
Yeah. That's it. So she's all excited. We're all excited to, send that. I think she probably already sent it to Robert Patrick on his Instagram account. And
that's cool. I really liked Robert Patrick when I met him. He's just, he's just such a cool, down to earth dude. He'll sit and talk to you, but he's got that persona. He's got a little T1000 in him still.
100%.
Because he has that straight laced, like you can't tell if he's serious or not. And then I mean, like I knew right away, but he has the same type of humor I do, where it can
Yes.
go over people's heads. You
Oh
know,
yeah.
it's subtle, but he's awesome, man. And we were talking about Peacemaker. He's talking about his new show that just came out, 1883, and talk some Terminator, talk
Sure.
some Big Swag. We got you on the phone. Actually, we had like a three-way
That's
call
right.
while we were talking
A little
together.
reunion. You know, Robert. You know, like you said, he's the real deal. He's a biker, right? People go, "Oh, he's great." I think, look, he's an actor biker. I think he was a biker before he was an actor, and he's a part owner of Santa Clarita Harley Davidson up in Santa Clarita, California, not too far from here for me. And I've owned one of his bikes before, and just a really all. If you see him. If you ever see him, folks, if you're at a convention or he's out, you just tell him, "Hey, the big swag says you owe him money." Just, just say something funny about that, because he'll talk to you. He'll sign something for you. He's a good dude, and it's nice when you get a guy that's I mean, he's a famous guy, right?
Yeah, he was hilarious when I met him, because he's walking and I was going past him. I go, "Hey, my buddy Big Swag, Brett Wagner, said to say hi to you." He just kept walking. He's like, "Fuck that guy." And then he turned around. I'm just kidding. He's like, "I love Brett. He's a great guy." And his wife, Dee, Dee's amazing, and all the kind words in the world. And it was cool because Terminator 2 is one of my favorite movies of all time. Period. Horror or not. And I can't tell you how many times I watched that movie in 1992. I went to movie theaters over and over again and saw it. I watched it on the big screen many a time. I probably listened to "You Could Be Mine" and watched that video about 6 million times. And and Robert Patrick, really, he was terrifying. He was menacing.
He was great
in that movie.
Peter Kent, another friend of mine, who's a stunt man. We should get Peter on sometime to chat with you. Peter, who was one of Arnold's stunt doubles for years, and did the motorcycle stunt in that, where Arnold's coming off of going into the L.A. River, the wash.
Yep.
And
is he the one who jumped the bike?
Yeah, that's Peter Kent. So, and Peter's done tons of movies with him, right? And Peter's up in Canada, great stunt guy, just an all-around class act. And Peter's also in Reanimator. He's the big muscle guy that's freaking out. They're trying to get that's going nuts. That's half naked in that thing. So Peter's a great guy. We get him on there. My dog is tearing.
I'd love to have him on. That'd be awesome. Because the stuntmen, I have I think they're the unsung heroes.
100%. There should be an Academy Award, and I have no idea why every year someone says there should be an Academy Award for for stunt guys, and there should be, and I have no idea in a million years
more
why they don't do it, and it's just amazing to me. But to
be fair, Tom Cruise would probably still win it every year. I mean, I'm just kidding, but that man is a nut.
No, he's good. Listen, I may not be a fan of his politics and his religion and stuff, but tremendous actor, tremendous producer, and yes, he's kept himself in great shape and just as what's his name? Jackie Chan?
Yeah.
The two guys that love to do their own stunts, and there's something about doing your own stunts. Obviously, I know firsthand about when you are doing your own stunts and you're not prepared for them, you can get hurt. But it's tough when you're doing a fight scene or you're doing stuff like Tom Cruise and Jackie do. Yeah, sure, you can get a stunt guy in there, but then you have to cheat the camera, and I'd rather have them see me doing it than the stunt guy. But I'm also obviously a very big proponent that's fine. I'd rather have those guys who make the big bucks do the really hard work and just let me do the simple stuff and do my acting. So
yeah, that's what you gotta do, though. That's what the actors are paid to do. It's just certain people are just born to do their stunts, and they'll insist on it, like Tom Cruise and, like you said, Jackie Chan. What he didn't, I was never a big fan of I love the Rush Hour movies, but Jackie Chan, I can watch any of his his movies that he's done just for the action scenes and the stunts he did alone.
Sure,
And
Rumble in the Bronx. I remember, I wasn't. I didn't really
Drunken
know much
Master.
about Jackie Chan until Rumble in the Bronx came out, and then I was like, "Who is this? Who is this nutcase?" And then I started, following him a little bit and watching some of his old stuff, and just
It's like
amazing.
It's like how it wasn't. It just. I mean, even watching it, it's like it just doesn't seem humanly possible what that man did. He took a lot of bumps and bruises. I know
Oh, sure. He's one of those guys that, 10 or 15 years, he may not be walking real good. He's going to.
Well, he stopped doing it. I heard he retired from doing his stunts and stuff, and I don't blame him.
It's like being a pro wrestler. If you look at some of these guys that, unfortunately, that have, that stayed in the business way too long, a lot of them have, even in their 50s and 60s, have a hard time moving around. And it's.
Well, I'm going to meet Mankind next month, Mick Foley. That dude, I know he's in a lot of pain, and he wasn't like ever physically like incredibly fit or this or that. He was just nuts.
He was just nuts. Well, there's some. So I did a TV show called Good vs. Evil, where I got to wrestle, Mick Foley, Mankind, and I remember in the business I was a manager. I was like Bobby the Brain Heenan. I mean, I trained to be a wrestler, and I legitimately had like one wrestling match for this versus guy Mercado, the fish market we called him, and then I was like, man, this is just too tough. But as a manager, you gotta know a lot of the moves because you take a beating. And what was my point here? Mankind. So I'm doing a TV show called G vs. E, and I booked the part. I was all excited. I play this guy Testicules, and I sell my soul to become the heavyweight champion of the world. And the guys, they go to Mankind and say, "You got to save him, Mick. You got to save this guy." So Mick Foley just came off of double cadaver ligament surgery, right? So he had both of his legs scoped, and he had some dead guy's ligaments in there. And he says, "Kid," he comes up to me, he goes, "How you doing, kid?" And I'm going, "Good, man. Good, pleasure to meet you." And he goes, "So how long you been in the business?" I said, "A couple of years, That's we're talking wrestling business." And he goes, "What are you good with?" I said, I can do a good clothesline." And he goes, "That's it?" And I said, "That's about it, buddy." And he goes, "Oh man, we're going to be a stunt man." And we did. We got a good friend of mine, who's not with us anymore, who passed away. But it was very funny because I'm 6'5" and my stunt double was, like 6 foot. But I had mask on and it was great. But Mick Foley was so cool, and I got to get in the ring with him at the ending, and he has the sacco on, and I still got it signed by him in here, and I got a little blood on it because he caught me in the mouth a little bit, so I was a little blood on it.
So you took one for the team.
Yeah, man.
You did your stunt. You did a stunt there, even drew blood.
Listen, that guy, and he has a hard time walking. You can see it.
Yeah. He's in a lot of pain.
He's in a lot of pain, but he loved that business so much that that was his thing, and a lot of guys are that way, and a lot of guys are going to have a hard time later on in life walking and everything. But that's why when you see one of these guys, you give them a little berth, a little pathway, and say thank you to them because they have paid the ultimate price with their body.
I'll tell you one thing. The wrestlers that I've met at Comic Cons and stuff like that have always been the nicest people. Whether it's Jim Duggan,
great guy,
Jerry the King Lawler, Booker T was really cool. Ric Flair was really cool. I've met a few of them, and they've always been nice. And you know what I do for a living, and they're always the kindest people to those my guys. So that goes a long way.
Valentine, I've done a couple shows with him, and I've done some security work at a show for Ric Flair, and
Greg the Hammer Valentine still hasn't changed a bit. I mean, I swear he doesn't even look that much older. He doesn't. His face is the same.
He's looked 80 for years. He's looked 80.
Yeah, he's always looked older. Yeah.
Yes.
It's weird. You see some people that look older at their age, but they never age after that. It's like, all right, I already grew old, so don't worry about it.
Great guy. Great guy.
I've heard good things.
Yeah, so a lot of those guys, it's great because a lot of those guys, I mean, that's how they make a living nowadays because you think about those guys in the '80s that were wrestling. You know, a lot of them didn't save their money, and a lot of them were, you know, and so these guys will go do conventions, and it's good to see them out there. And that's why I always say thank you to them. And if you see Greg the Hammer, you see some of these guys at conventions, go buy a picture from them, say hello, buy something from them. You know,
all you could hear at the convention when I met Hacksaw Jim Duggan is we just kept yelling "ho" to each other the whole time when we were walking by, and he was really cool. He was a lot of fun.
He's one of those, you know, beat cancer a couple times, has had it.
Yeah, he's
done very, you know, he still goes and does the conventions, and then you know, the Hammer does Tito Santana,
yep.
Ron Simmons,
Jesse Ventura, Chico. Jesse Ventura was probably my favorite announcer of all. I mean, he was so funny with all of them. I remember, and the funny thing is, I guess other people have told Hacksaw Jim Duggan. The one thing I remember out of Hacksaw Jim Duggan's career is there's a clip from I like a WrestleMania or something, and he's got this big snot coming out of his nose. Hold on, it's like, good night, Jim. Good seeing you. Peacemaker is great with Robert Patrick. He is in season 2 too, so if I could speak. He is in season 2 as well, and I asked him, so he said I could tell people, so he is in season 2, Robert Patrick. But yeah, so he has this big snot coming out of his nose, and you know Jesse Ventura. Oh, look at that Duggan! That is just disgusting. I want to vomit. The snot hanging out of his nose. He's like, yeah, people bring that up all the time. The snot coming out of his nose. It was a big one too, and it was just with the way Jesse Ventura did it, and the way he played it off. He was just I don't know. He made every match so much fun for me as a kid.
So some of the greatest commentary, you know, Gorilla Monsoon, Jesse the Body Ventura, Gorilla Monsoon, Bobby the Brain Heenan, those combinations, and then throw in, you know, Jerry the King Lawler in there. Those are some of the best announcers ever because they are so quick with the improv, right? They can talk about anything, right? And that's, if you're going to be in the business of professional wrestling, you got to be able to cut promos and talk about anything. It doesn't matter whether you know anything about it. You just got to be able to talk and just keep talking. And Jesse the Body and those guys were so quick with their one-liners. And Jesse always is playing the heel, you know. And he'll come up with some funny one-liners. And Jerry the King Lawler and Gorilla Monsoon and all that stuff. That's the best.
They were the best. They were the best. 100%. They really were. And McMahon really was really good with Jesse Ventura back in 100%.
People don't give because you know, people look at him as the boss and the owner.
Yeah. Well, this was before he became Vince McMahon that you know.
Yes.
You know, he was just he didn't really make it that you wouldn't even know in the 80s that he was the owner of wrestling unless you really knew that he was the owner. He kind of seemed like the straight-laced color commentator by the book, you know, and Jesse Ventura would be the guy who just was like always making excuses for the heel in there and coming up with great ones. And him announcing Tito Santana was always hilarious. Chico. And then how he'd get mad, like if the good guys did something like back at the bad guys cheating wise or illegal. You know, look at that, it's illegal. But yeah, Jesse Ventura, out of all of them, was always my favorite. He just had me in tears all the time.
You know, he transitioned into a really good actor too, as well.
He was fantastic. Predator.
Oh, come on. Predator. What was the other one? What was the other?
He was in Running Man with
Running Man. Yeah, Running Man. You know, and in Predator, he's just tremendous. What a great. The first Predator. Let's not. We won't go any more on that. But the
second one was all right. I actually liked the movie Predators. I liked that one where they go to the Predator planet. I wish they did more of those.
You mean the one they just did, right? That was last year.
No. Oh. This one was before. This one was with what's his name with the nose?
With the nose, yeah.
Really good ones. Adrian Brody,
and also the guy from the UFC's in there, the Russian guy.
There's quite a few. Danny Trejo's in it.
Yeah, I'm all right with that. But now listen, there's a new one that came out last. I believe it was on Netflix.
On Hulu.
On Hulu. You got to watch it. It's really good. Yeah,
it wasn't bad. I think in order for me is Predator 1 to Predator 2 and Predators is right up there for me. I loved Predators. I wish there was more to it.
Wasn't Danny Glover in the Predator
He was
two.
in part two. Part two was good. I think people were just disappointed because Arnold wasn't in it.
All right.
You
I
know,
might give it
but
a
it wasn't a
second.
bad movie. It was well done. I don't like it as much as the first one, but it's still a good flick. And I like Predators. We'll go through some of these comments here. Yes, Jim left already, but Peacemaker, we talked about it. Robert Patrick was great in it. John Cena was fantastic in that show. Didn't expect much from the show, and when I watched it, I was like hooked.
The
Catchy
writing
theme
is
song.
tremendous. Writing is tremendous on the. It's a fun. It's it'll shock you when you first watch it and go, "Ooh!" But it's really good. I mean, the Eagles, great. Come on.
Mark Heller's asking, do you know Robert Stunt Double? I'm not sure if he's asking Robert Englund or Robert Patrick. I'm guessing Robert Patrick.
I don't think I do. I didn't. I know Robert will do a lot of his own stuff. He's in really good shape. Hey, I will tell you something real quick about Robert. I guess I can tell you this. So, like 2 years ago, he was booked to do play a guy who was like in his 50s who joined a college football team. And I believe that his college, I think it was, so he was training with like the UCLA football players. And like, I'm like, oh man, I mean, he was out there training with these guys because he was going to do this movie playing an older football player, the guy that comes into college, I believe. And then I think the movie got scrapped, but Robert's in tremendous shape. You know, he will crack jokes, and he's the nicest guy in the world, but he can handle himself.
Well, he's an athlete too, wasn't he? A solid football player back in the day. I remember hearing.
Yeah, but he stays in tremendous shape. I mean, he's
Yeah,
you know
he
because
looked
he'll
great
ride
when I
across the
saw him.
country. He'll ride across the country on his bike. I mean, literally, he'll go to a convention in Boston, and we live in California. He will ship his stuff there, and he will get on his motorcycle and drive across the country just to go to a convention. That's how much he loves riding Harleys, and that's how much he loves being on the road. And then he'll come right back, and he'll stop at a whole bunch of different states and do stuff. I mean, when I say he's a biker, he is the real deal.
Yeah, well, to just go California to Massachusetts is a
You got to be
haul. I
in
mean, imagine
shape.
driving. I mean, like know him, but people riding in the highways. That Robert Patrick.
You got to be in good shape to do that.
Yeah.
People,
Oh man,
I mean, listen,
I'm
it's not
tired just
simple.
thinking about it.
I listen, just going and getting on my bike. And when I had my bike and going to Vegas is tough. And that's only like
Yeah.
4.5 hours. Just imagine doing 4 days on a bike, 10 to 12 hours a day. I mean,
I
that's
guess that's
a lot of
loving
work.
to ride. It's loving. It's living the dream there for him.
Yes.
I mean, I get.
What else? What else are we talking about?
We were
Some of
talking
the comments.
wrestling.
The
Aaron
comments.
Wachowski. He was on the show. He's got a great channel too. Wrestling talk. He loves it. We got into wrestling because we were talking about injuries, and we got into yeah. 80s wrestling is always my favorite time. That's when I was a kid and watching it on the weekends, and I loved it. I did. As you talk Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Greg
Sure.
Valentine, all these 80s guys.
I
Was
was
a
lucky
big
enough
fan.
I was lucky enough when I was in the business for 5 years that I got to work with, the Road Warriors. I got to work with Diamond Dallas Page. I got a concussion from Chavo Guerrero. What else did I get? And Chavo Guerrero, who works, by the way, is one of the guys that trainers for the movie, The Young Rock, that TV show.
Okay, yeah, I heard, I seen that was out, but I haven't heard much about it. I haven't had a chance to watch
It's doing really well. So they give it, but so a lot of those guys are actors that are playing wrestlers. Some of them, so that they got to be trained. Who else did I get to work with that I really enjoyed? The Hardy Boys. I got to work with the late China, Joni Lauer. She gave me a nice low blow. So I got to
it.
work with some really cool guys, and George the Animal Steel, Jimmy Superfly Snuka.
I love George the Animal Steel. Him and the Macho Man when they do Saturday Night's Main Event, him chasing Elizabeth around. Great memories there.
Oh yeah. The Macho Man really was a little nuts, and he was very, very,
Oh yeah,
very, very, very protective of Miss Elizabeth, which I think was, eventually that ruined that whole thing. And from you couldn't. I mean, there's a bunch of guys to talk about. I'm
I
not
can
talking.
understand where you got all that stuff going on, and his probably a mentality on top of a beautiful woman going traveling the road with all these dudes, a little insecurity for him, and
Yeah, and but I mean, that's all. But the Road Warriors, obviously my favorite, one of
oh
my
yeah,
favorite tag teams of all time, the Midnight
Rocket
Express,
Animal,
Rock and Roll
yeah,
Express. I mean, the Moondogs. I mean, we're going back the
I remember
Wild
the Moondog,
Samoans. All that's all 80. The sheep herders.
yeah,
They called them the Bushwhackers before that.
Bushwhackers, yeah,
Yeah. So all that stuff. All that good. Even Booker T and them.
the Four
Booker T.
Horsemen, Booker T, the what was Harlem Heat.
Harlem Heat. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
That was they were. That
the
was.
British Bulldogs were my favorite. The
Oh
Richaud
yeah. Come on.
brothers were hilarious. The Hart Foundation was great tag team. Even
Yeah, man.
Greg the
I
Hammer
mean,
and Valentine and Brutus Beefcake had a great run as tag team
they
partners
did.
as the Dream Team.
What the hell was the name? The Dream Team.
Yeah, Dream Team. Yeah,
Bam Bam Bigelow is one of my favorites. Stan Hansen.
Big John
And
Studd was always great.
Big John Studd died way too early.
Yeah,
Big
King
John
Kong
Studd.
Bundy.
King Kong Bundy was. I used to have a wrestling radio show called Wrestling 101. John Cena would come in and answer phones for us. So at the time, he was the prototype. He wasn't John Cena. He was the prototype. And that was his first gimmick in wrestling and Ultimate Pro Wrestling. And Samoa Joe was my co-host with this comedian, Gary Brussel. And this guy, Joe Schmo, was our producer. And, we got to interview King Kong Bundy on the radio and got to interview all these cool people. And one time we were calling Brutus the Barber Beefcake for an interview. Yeah, call us. We're good. And we called we had a wrong number, and it was Terry Funk's house. So Terry Funk's wife answered. I said, "Hello, this is Wrestling 101. The Big Swag is Brutus in it." She goes, "Who are you trying to call?" I said, "Brutus the Barber Beefcake." She's like, "No, this is Terry Funk's house." I'm like, "Oh, I am so sorry. We apologize." She goes, "What? My husband's not good enough to talk to?" And I was like, "Hey, wait a minute. No, that's not what I mean. I'm not, because at the time, Terry Funk would come in to LA and he would fly in to audition for TV shows.
Oh, he was a good actor. Roadhouse, he was
Come
good in.
on,
He was
man.
in a few.
So that's
He was a
around
good
the
tough guy. He was a legit tough guy.
Well, listen, man, you could see that you wouldn't want to mess with him or his brother,
No.
Dory Funk. You wouldn't want to mess with those two guys. But I remember I saw him on audition, like a year later or something. And I said, "Hey, Terry." Goes, yeah. How you doing? I said, "Listen, I hate to say, I accidentally called your house about a year ago." He goes, "Oh, you're the one my wife was talking about." And I was like, "Holy crap, I'm going to get punched right here." But he laughed and he says, "Oh, we had a good time." And his wife was laughing at the end of that interview. But yeah, wrestling was a big part of my life growing up, man. That was WCW, NWA. I mean, that's all I lived for. But
I
it's
was the same way. When I was a kid, I was so big into wrestling, man. I mean,
very
in the
tough to make a
80s, I had
living
to
at it.
watch it.
Yeah, it's very tough to make a living at it. So, I mean, I lasted about 5 years in the business, and I was also a big guy. So, being a manager of the WWF at the time, uh, just didn't know what to do with me, right? We worked for their minor leagues, and they were like, "Well, you're just as big as the wrestlers," so they didn't think that gimmick would work. And then I
Yeah,
tried to do some, and it was a great time. I got to be creative, and as far as an actor, that wrestling really helped me because you're thrust into whether there's 100 people in a VFW hall or there's 1,000 in a where we used to work out there and in Huntington Beach or I did a dark match, which was where you go and you warm up the crowd for a WWE event, a show, or SmackDown or Raw, and you have 15,000 people. So that's once you get to learn how to control the crowd and get them to boo you or cheer you, it really
yeah.
helps you when you're
I mean,
acting.
you could have a somewhat of a script, but a lot of it's improv. You have to, come off natural. I imagine you got to be clear. You
Yep.
can't be stumbling and bumbling on the mic, which you got great mic skills as anybody who's seen Brett doing his promotions for any event he goes to.
You
So
can
I can
still
imagine you were
stumble
really
and
good.
bumble, but you got to stick on point. You know, you got to
Yeah.
know what you're trying to get across. That's why guys like The Rock, Stone Cold,
Yeah.
even Batista. That's why these guys are so good when they transition
Quick.
into acting, because they're quick.
Yeah.
Their mind works faster than the average guy. They're just like Robin Williams, if you want to think about that. Robin Williams' mind works
At
50
a million
times.
miles an hour. Well, he had a lot of help in the 80s.
He did. He did have a lot of help. If you ever go look at some of Robin Williams
Oh,
and you
he's
look at some
sweet.
of his early shows where he's running around in an audience,
Oh, yeah.
you're like, and you don't realize it. You know, I was like, oh my gosh,
As a
who
kid,
knew?
I didn't realize. I'm just like, this guy's funny. Yeah, he's
Who
coked out
realized
of his mind.
that? Yeah, more. Who realized that
Who
more?
comes out with Mork from Ork? You know, who brings a character like that to life? I mean, Robin Williams. You
Yeah.
know, he was a
What's
legend.
Aaron ask? Aaron is
He's
asking
asking what was your wrestling name?
the Big Schwag,
The Big Swag. That's
manager of champions.
that must have been fun though. I mean, even like the short period of time you did it in
Yeah,
its own way.
it's fun. Look at I got to work with some incredible people. You know, the John Cenas, the Samoa Joes,
Before they were who they were, a lot of them. You know, like John
100%.
Cena was what the prototype. You said. I think I watched the documentary, and this was years ago before he became big in the WWE
Yeah,
or
that's how I got.
WWF.
Yeah, it's called Wrestling School. It was for Discovery Channel.
Right,
And
right.
yeah, and I have a little cameo on that, and
Oh, do you?
yeah, so does
Because
the
I
guy.
remember that.
So does the guy who replaced me in that movie I was in.
Oh
So
yeah.
he's got a little cameo in there too, yelling. But yeah, it's and that's how that documentary is how eventually I got to be the voice of Monster Garage. Same producer, and he said, "Hey, Schwag, can you do your wrestling voice for a new TV show I'm going to do for Discovery?" And I remember that I said, "Does it pay?" And he goes, "Yeah." I'm like, "I'm in. I'm in. Let's go."
Oh yeah, I can do. What voice do you want? I'll do it for any voice you want. If you
Tom
just let me
Beers,
know. I
TAOM.
got you.
Yeah, Tom Beers was the producer of that thing, and it was really cool. If you ever watch it, it's called Wrestling School, and it gives you a glimpse into the lives of guys like John Cena and Samoa Joe, and their humble beginnings to where they are now, and what it takes to be in that business. It's a tough business, man. Very few guys, you know, if you're lucky enough to get on TV, you may last a couple years, you know, and that's just the bottom line. And then you better have a backup job. So very rarely do guys last 10, 15, 20 years in the business. The guys that you see do that are just, first of all, you got to be physically in shape. You got to be mentally sharp and in shape. And wrestling is all about psychology. You got to really know what the psychology of wrestling is. What is there? Psychology in wrestling? Yeah.
And you gotta have balls of steel.
Balls of steel. Yeah, you do.
You know?
Because guys will stab you in the back for $50 where I have to drive. Look, I have to drive 4 hours to go wrestle somewhere in Fresno to do a show for $50. It's going to cost me, you know,
more than
$200 just to get down there and come back. But and guys in that business they'll put a knife in your back.
And they'll sacrifice you.
$50. Yeah.
Yeah. And then if they don't like you and you got to do a match with them, I mean, you're putting your health and everything in other people's hands. I've seen some videos where it didn't go too well.
Yep.
What was that one dude? That one dude was crazy from, what was his name? He was
Nick Gage?
No.
Oh.
I'm trying to think of his name. He had a lot of scars on his face. He wasn't a great wrestler.
You're talking a guy from XPW. African American.
Yeah. What was his name? He was just I've seen him do some pretty nasty stuff. Just, you know.
I think he just
went out to hurt people. New Jack.
New Jack. That's right. Thank you. Whoever said that. Yeah, New Jack. He passed. I think he passed away.
Yeah, he did.
That's so that stuff. And if you look now, New Jack was doing stuff 15 years ago that was unheard of, you know, doing an XPW and ECW and stuff like that. These guys were doing the extreme stuff. Now there's companies where they're doing such extreme stuff that it's not wrestling, right? And
Yeah,
so it
it's
has
a stunt
nothing to
show.
do with pro wrestling, and they're killing each other in the ring, which I am not a fan of. It's like,
No, because these young guys are trying to make a difference, or make a career, make a statement, stand out. And you know how you are when you're younger. You don't realize that one bad move, all these things add up when you get to your 40s, 50s, 60s. I mean, I can only imagine like 70s, 80s, when you start getting up there if you're a wrestler, if you make it that long. I
if you
mean,
make it that long, you look
yeah,
at all the guys that have passed away young that were pro wrestlers. The problem is a lot of guys are doing supplements, let's say, right, to
yeah.
stay
Well, they
in good
have to keep
shape.
up. And I mean, they self medicate.
Self-medicate. You're doing pain pills. You're doing muscle relaxers. You're doing steroids. And then you are still going out and having a couple drinks with the guys, right?
That
And
heart can only take so much.
yeah, the heart can
Especially if
only
you're really bulky, if you're really big, you got that muscle that's not good for your heart. And that's a big part.
100%. So, but yeah, it's a tough sport, but it's a tough gig. But something I loved, and I always try to do different stuff, just like you. If we like something, we try to do it. So I think I did pretty good for 5 years in the business, and I had my shots and my chances, and I got to meet a lot of guys that I'm still good friends with today that have made it.
Yeah.
AEW, if you watch All Elite Wrestling, a lot of those guys, you know, I worked with, and they're still doing tremendous, and that's a great company. Um,
It's
Tony
hard to
Khan.
see that some of those guys that are up there, I mean, doing it, and they're doing it just because there wasn't a lot of money. I mean, there wasn't a lot of insurance. I mean, nobody's going to cover anybody. You were independent contractors.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
And
if you got hurt in the WWF, a lot of my friends did, and Vince was good enough that if you got hurt while you were working, they would go get you fixed up, but
if
it's,
you're not,
that doesn't mean that you're going to be coming back to because if you're not over with the crowd, if you can't get over with the gimmick they
yeah.
give you, when I say gimmick, that means what you are, like Kane, like The
Yeah.
Undertaker, that's their gimmick, right? So if you can't get over with that gimmick,
And a
and the
lot of times
fans
it's the
are,
ones they give you too, and you're
that's the
stuck
ones
with
they
it. I
give
know
you.
there's a few wrestlers that like, hell no, I'm not doing it. But there's other ones that they put them in gimmicks, knowing it wouldn't work too. A little,
Sure, sure.
dirty business.
Listen, Gold Dust is a prime
Yeah,
example. I'm sure Dustin Rhodes didn't want to do that gimmick. But he got it over,
yeah, he made
right?
it work.
He made it work, and I loved Gold Dust. But just imagine you're Dusty Rhodes' kid. You're a young stud in this business, and you got the pedigree from your father and that last names, and all of a sudden they're like, "Hey, you're going to dress up as a kind of a freaky dude that's a little
You,
weird," and you're like, "Oh, okay." But he did it well,
I
and
think he
that's
still uses it, doesn't he? I mean,
no, he
did he
doesn't use
claim it
that.
as his own character?
He
I don't know.
you know he
No.
runs because the WWF owns that gimmick. So
Okay.
the WWF or WWE will, if they come up with a gimmick for you, they basically own it. The
Yeah.
Rock and a few other guys, Stone Cold Steve Austin,
I I
they
think the
own.
Ultimate Warrior made his name legal, the Ultimate Warrior, so he could keep using the name. I thought that was pretty funny. I mean,
Yeah,
I've heard different things, but rest in peace to him too. I mean, he was at the time he had a pretty good run. I know his wasn't the greatest to work with for some wrestlers, but
yeah. Oh, he had a great run. Listen, Vince liked him.
great energy.
The crowd loved him. I mean,
Yeah,
he got inducted into the Hall of Fame and then died the next day.
yeah. How
I
crazy is
mean,
that?
that's crazy. So,
Yeah.
all
Well,
right,
rest in
listen,
peace, all these guys.
I've had a fun time.
Yep.
I got the football game on pause. I'm going to go back to it. I just wanted to come in and BS with you because I see that Jason couldn't make it.
Yeah, I'll reschedule with them. I'm sure something came up. Not a big deal.
Yeah.
Um, and if you guys haven't watched Vengeance 1 and 2 and you're a big fan of Friday the 13th, especially the Tommy Jarvis storyline, this is a direct continuation of part 6, and there's 2 parts that continue the Jarvis line of story. So I'd say I'd give it a highly recommend and check it out. And I'm going to be taking off too. We were going to go over some conventions, but Monday we got Jeff
O'Neill.
O'Neill. I keep wanting to say O'Reilly. Jeff O'Neill. And we're going to be talking Midwest Monster Fest. Should be a fun show. Brett Wagner's going to be there. That's going to be in September. I can't remember the exact date. It's like the 20-something, isn't it? 21st to 23rd or something.
Oh, let me get to September. Midwest Monster Fest, 22nd, 23rd, 24th, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's a 2-day event. So I think it's a Saturday and Sunday event. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to talking to Jeff. We'll schedule some more people. I know there was the girl from Wisconsin you wanted to bring her on and talk about her event.
Yeah.
Wyoming.
Yeah.
And there's a few other promoters I'd like to get on here too and be able to chat it up with them about their event and their journey to get where they are. And thank you, chat.
Yeah.
I love talking to promoters. I think it's fascinating what they do.
All right, buddy. I will see you Monday. If you're not working tomorrow, relax, watch a little football, have a tasty bet.
I'm always working, Brett. Give me a break. Give me a break.
Sorry.
You're all right. But thanks for coming up and bailing me out and having a little someone to talk to. Thank you, chat, for being here. We did some horror. We did some wrestling tonight.
Yeah.
We did not expect to do that, but it was fun. Had a good time, and we'll see you all Monday. Peace out.
All right, buddy.
Later.